Hey YouTube, it is PokeDad, and I have a special treat for you today. We are looking at and profiling the Wailord Nationals deck. Or, let me put it this way, it's really close to the Nationals deck. There's a few cards I'm missing, so I've snuck in a few different cards. But for the most part, it plays just like the Nationals, and it's a very annoying deck. Now, before I even get started, let me give you a couple caveats about this deck. I am PokeDad, and I am a dad, and I'm a dad before I'm a Pokemon player. If you have kids, do not let them play this deck online with random strangers, because they will give very salty responses. Fortunately, the couple videos I did, battle videos, one of them I did with a friend just because I was concerned about that. And then the second one, there was a couple little comments, but nothing inappropriate. So I do want to give that caveat because there are some very salty things being said against this deck. People hate this deck. It is extremely annoying. And you can very well see why it placed second at Nationals. It caught a lot of people off guard. The other caveat, though, I should go ahead and tell you, is that people are already teching for this. They're putting in grass-type Pokemon into normal decks just to tech against this. So you're not going to win this deck as much as you would say if you first started out a week ago with this deck. Also, you should know that there are some people that are just draw passing, and the games end up going very long. Matter of fact, in the second battle video, we have a very similar game like that, and I'll just go ahead and warn you, when you watch that second battle video, it is extremely long. It's probably pretty boring too. This deck is quite boring. It is annoying, so part of me is kind of like the mischievous part of me likes it, but for all practical purposes, I would not play this. Maybe once or twice in a league just to show people it, but I would not make this my main deck. There are plenty of other strategies to use other than this. So anyway, with those caveats right off the bat, let me just tell you, Wailord EX has an attack for 5 water energies that we don't even use. This deck is just meant to stall. You could technically call it a mill deck because that's the only way you can win in this deck other than your opponent conceding. But it's a stall deck more than it's a mill deck. In fact, if you are going to do a mill deck, Bunnelby's a little more fun, and it gives your opponents, it won't annoy your opponents as bad. And you can still win with that one. Wailord has 250 HP. He's a tank. That's all we do, is we just tank him. So we're gonna put slap a hard charm on there, and every time someone does damage to him, we just heal it off. And we have various ways to do that. We will look at that when we get into the supporters, because the supporters are the main part of this deck. However, I don't want to forget Suicune. We do play actually in the Nationals deck. He played 3 Suicunes. We're just playing 2 in this deck, and I put a few Robo Subs in to kind of replace that. Suicune has the Safeguard ability, so if they don't have a secondary attacker if they're just playing EXs and they don't have Silent Lab, then Suicune is never going to be knocked out. And again, we just slap a hard charm on him, not putting any energies on him. Again, just letting him be a wall. And so that's all we do. That's our Pokemon line, Suicune and Wailord. Alright, so let's move right on to our trainer cards. Alright, so this deck is basically built around 2 ideas. We're going to disrupt energy, keep them from being able to attack, and then we're also going to heal the damage that they do give to us. So with that in mind, that's all we do. We have various ways to disrupt the energy. We have various ways to heal the damage, and that's it. That's the whole strategy behind the deck. So Crushing Hammer, this actually wasn't played in the deck. I think he played 4 Team Flare Grunts, but I only had like 2 or 3, So I added a couple crushing hammers in here to kind of make up for it. Yeah, I only have 2, but he plays 4, so we put crushing hammer in to kind of make up for it. It's not quite as effective, but believe me, the deck's still effective even without the 4 team cleric runs. Play 1 Dowsing Machine. This allows us to go back in and grab, it's like a 5th VS Seeker. And with this deck, believe me, you need supporters over and over and over again. So Dowsing Machine allows you to grab another max potion that you already used, or a supporter that you've already used. So Dowsing Machine, a must in this deck, and that is the A-spec of choice. Play 3 Enhanced Hammers. Again, we're just trying to deny energy, and in fact, you got to think most decks if they run around use special energy, and they're playing, say, 4 of them. 3 Enhanced Hammers and a 0-stick knock all 4 of them out of the game, and then now they're just back down to their basic energy. So Enhanced Hammer, very nice. Max Potion, this is our first healing card. Now, we don't have any energies in play at all, and so Max Potion heals all damage from one of your Pokemon, and then discard all the energy attached to that Pokemon. Since we have no energies in play, we can freely use Max Potions. So when Wailord gets 200 damage on him, you Max Potion it off, and he's free to go take some more hits. So we play 4 Max Potions, very needed in this deck to heal the damage. Alright, I play 2 Robo Substitutes. Again, this is because I didn't have enough Suicunes, so we're gonna I throw those in. They only gonna stall for 1 turn basically, but that 1 turn might be enough just to win you the game, or to buy you some time to get another supporter ready for your next Wailord. So that's why I put the Robo Subs in. Sacred Ash, honestly, in all the battles I've done, I've never used it, but if Wailord does get knocked out, or Suicune gets knocked out, you can bring them back in, and that will at least give you more cards into your deck, so that you don't deck out, because most people are getting very smart to this, and they themselves are just draw passing, and so this will allow you to get more cards into your deck. Alright, Startling Megaphone. We play 1 of these. This is just a disrupt tool cards, Spirit Links, Muscle Bands, so that the opponent is not able to hit you as hard, or is going to take more time to evolve. So 1 Startling Megaphone, very useful, and we can Dowsing Machine for it if we need it again. So that's available. Now, we normally play 3 Skylas, but I only have 2, so I put in a Trainer's Mill, since it's kind of acts similarly to a Skyla, not as good, but it also isn't a supporter, so it can actually be useful. But normally in the Nationals deck they play 3 Skylas, so you could take a Trainer's Mill out and put another Skyla in. But that's just to help us search out for a supporter or for another card we need. We need to constantly be getting a flow of AZs and Max Potions and things like that, and we're not really relying on draw power. The only draw power we have is in, and we really want to keep that to a minimum. So Trainer's Mill, that is kind of like a Skyla. Now you would think we'd play 4 Trick Shovels, but the Nationals deck only played 1 Trick Shovel, and I guess that was to help break parity if they were playing against a Wailord deck. But it does just help whittle your opponent down 1 more time. So, and also if they get to that last card, you can, Dowsing Machine for the Trick Shovel and get it, and then get that last one off on them. Because sometimes they may wait till they grab the last card and then they Colress for, or Colress or Shana, or in themselves back down to a smaller hand. Well, if they wait till the last second and you have that Trick Shovel, that's going to be 1 second way too late. So that's why the Trick Shovel's in there. Alright, we play 4 VS Seekers because it's imperative that we're able to get our support cards back. We're going to be using these supporters over and over, and in certain situations we have to have certain ones even if they've already been used. So 4 VS Seekers just mandatory in this deck. Alright, so let's get on to our support line. So the first one is AZ, and if this one should be pretty obvious. Put one of your Pokemon into your hand and discard all the cards attached to that Pokemon. So AZ, Wailord starts taking a lot of damage. We can't heal it off, or we don't want to heal it off right away. We just AZ the Wailord back into our hand, and then we put up another Wailord from the bench and put this one back down on the bench, and we just recycle the Wailords. Cassius, and we play 4 AZs, we play 4 Cassius also. Now Cassius is slightly different. With AZ, if you have a hard charm on, you're going to lose the hard charm, but you get the Wailord back into your hand right then and there. Cassius takes the Pokemon and all cards attached to it and then shuffles it back into your deck. So you have to then draw back into it before you can use it again. You prefer to use Cassius toward the beginning of the game, and you want to use AZ toward the end of the game. That's just kind of the rule of thumb. It's not hard and fast, but that's just the idea. But also Cassius, if someone is just draw passing, Cassius can actually get more cards back into your deck. So that's a very useful card. 4 of those, but it's basically the same idea. When Wailord gets really heavily damaged, we just Cassius him back into the deck, and we move on to our next Wailord. Alright, Hugh. Now, we only have 1 of these, but the deck called for 2, and Hugh is extremely important, especially with people who like to, think about this. If they keep draw passing, they eventually could have a hand of 30 cards, and then you might be using some of your cards, and then they play in, and your cards go back into your deck, and their cards go back into their deck. Well, the problem we have then is that now they've got more cards because they haven't used as many as we have, and so we're going to deck out before them. Hugh is the great equalizer. The hardest part is knowing when to use Hugh. But if you have 5 cards in your hand and your opponent has, say, 15 cards in their hand, that's the perfect time to play Hugh, because you're just going to have 5 left in your hand. They're going to have to discard 10 cards out of their hand, and so they're not going to be able to recycle those cards within. So Hugh is the great equalizer in this game. It's very important, especially if you get into a battle where they just draw pass. They're trying to deck you out before you deck them out. So Hugh helps with that. Now the deck calls for 2, but we only have 1, so you have to VS Seeker for Hugh in those situations. In the second battle video that I've already recorded, you'll see where this comes in extremely handy. Alright, now Lysander, this is going back to if they're actually going to try to attack, and most people, I really think if you're going to try to beat the Wailord deck, it's actually best to go ahead and try to attack it. If you can't get a one-hit knockout, then you just constantly need to be hitting it with damage so that you force your opponent to keep playing the AZ and the Cassius, and eventually they're going to run out of resources. And that's the best way to handle it. But if you're so Lysander helps us draw someone from the bench that has no energy on it with a high retreat cost, bring it to the active, and then it's just going to delay them a couple more turns. So we play 2 Lysanders in this deck, and again, it's not the way Lysander's normally meant to use. You usually bring the active up and then try to knock it out, but in this case Lysander is just another stalling technique. We play 4 ends. Alright, I've got 2 different kinds of ends here, but you play 4 ends. This is your primary draw support, but it also, here's the thing, if your opponent starts getting low, like if they're playing a lot of cards, they're trying to beat you, then you want to end them instead of Hugh them. Like Hugh is for our people that are holding a lot of cards in their hand. End is for when people are getting down to just 1 or 2 or even 3 cards. You can end them and they have to draw 6. So it causes them to draw through their deck faster. And it also, at some point you do need a little bit of a fresh hand. So end can get you some extra other supporters if you have an extra turn where you don't need to use AZ or Cassius. Alright, Pokemon Fanclub, we play 4 of these. Now Now at the end of the game these become not as useful, but at the beginning of the game you can get 2 Wailords, and then if you need a Cassius one, you can grab Pokemon Fanclub again and get that one back out of the deck. So Fanclub's going to help you grab the Wailord, especially with the ones that have to go, especially with the ones that go back into the deck with Cassius. Fanclub can then get them back out. And the idea here is, especially if you only start with one, you want to get your bench going pretty quickly, just in case something does happen to that first one and you need to AZ it. You have another one available. So Fanclub gets us the 2 cards that we need, 2 Pokemon that we need. Now Shana, we only play 1 Shana, but this card is going to make a big difference. Now nobody plays Shana, okay, in competitive play. They think it's a weak card. So if they have a big hand and they're trying to get the cards back into their deck, they're going to use N or they're going to use Colress. Obviously they're not going to use Sycamore. So those cards are going to allow you to get more cards back into your deck. Well, N's going to get, if they haven't taken any prizes, which is the idea here, they're still going to have to draw 6 with N. And if they have just 1 on the bench and you have a loaded bench of 5 with the Robo Subs and everything, they're going to Colress for 6, and most of the time they'll Colress for more because they don't realize what's going on until after they've put a big bench down. So Colress and N draw more cards than Shana does. So here, this is kind of like if you get behind in the cards, you could catch up with Shana. You wait till you get a big hand and then you use Shana, and you're going to Shana back to 5. Whereas when they do it, they're going to end back into 6, or they may Colress, but they may have to Colress back into like 7 or 8. And they may VS Seeker, but you're also going to VS Seeker back into Shana. So this helps you gain cards so that you don't deck out first. So Shana, very, very important in this deck. Alright, Skyla, there's supposed to be 3 in here, but I'm only running 2. This allows you to go grab a max potion if you need it, grab the supporter you need for next turn, get an AZ, get a Cassius, get a hard charm, get a stadium. We'll talk about the stadiums momentarily. So Skyla is just extremely useful. Need 3 of those in this deck. Team Flare Grunt should be playing 4 in this deck, but we only play 2. Again, it's just the energy disruption. We're just trying to knock energies off, causing them to have to constantly put more back on, or find ways to get it out of the discard pile and put it back on. So, but at least Team Flare Grunt can oftentimes delay for a turn, and if you've got multiples of these, then you're going to be constantly knocking the energy back off. So Team Flare Grunt, very useful. Alright, 106. 06 just gets special energies, so you can knock a DCE off, or a double dragon, or any other special energy that your opponent might be using. So, and then you can VS Seeker, and remember, like if it's double colorless, they're only going to have 4 of them. So with Enhanced Hammer and 06, you should be able to knock all of them out of the game, forcing them just to stick to basic energies. This helps especially with Mega Rayquaza, Raichu, and Toad. So 06, just one of those. Alright, getting on to our stadium. So we play 4 Rough Seas, and this is just obvious. We're playing the Rough Seas on here so that we can heal our Wailords. Being able to, like, if you've got a hard charm on, they're gonna do 20 less damage, and especially at the beginning of the game, if they only hit you for like 40 or 50, you're gonna block 20 of that with the hard charm. Then you're gonna Rough Seas the rest of the damage off, and it's like nothing. And until they can start getting energy built up, which again, we've got energy disruption, keeping them to having to use smaller attacks at least at the beginning. And so we just keep doing that. Rough Seas, heal the damage, and then move on to the next turn. We also play 2 Silent Labs. We definitely want to win the Stadium War. We don't want them to be using their stadium. If we're playing Mega Rayquaza or Raichu, we don't want Skyfield in play because we don't want them hitting for the big numbers. Even though they can't one-shot us, if they have playing bats or something like that, they could get a combo into it. And so we definitely want to constantly be knocking their stadiums down so that they can't kill us in one shot. So Silent Lab, we play 2 of those. This is to kind of break the Shamans and Jirachis, keep them from being able to use them effectively. Also, just another counter stadium, really. Hard Charm, we play 4 Hard Charms. It's just put it on the Wailord and it tanks even more, and all the attacks are -20. So very useful in this deck. And that's it, guys. So that is the Wailord deck. You know, give me your comments. Tell me what you think about this. I know that it's very unusual. I personally would like to see someone use this maybe in combination with Bunnelby, because Bunnelby is more aggressive, so it forces your opponent to have to move a lot faster. And of course, Wailord would lose to Bunnelby every game because Bunnelby could just keep putting cards back into the deck. So anyway, there you have it, guys. Hit like, subscribe, give me a comment, tell me what you think, and I'll have the battle videos coming shortly. They'll be in the description, and we will talk to you later. Bye.